Hi there and welcome back to the video series. In this video we're going to add CRUD functionality with our relations in our application. So we're actually going to create new tasks and mark them as completed. Here we go. Okay, so in comparison with last video, I did a few changes here. I made this a little bit prettier with a green background and some rounded corners. I also added a form to create new tasks for businesses and for people. And I also created the button complete task for completing the task. I also made an overview of all the tasks with the polymorphic one-to-many relationship shown here to us with an icon of which type of model is related to this task. And also again with the complete task button. So in the code here, I created the task controller, which is empty at the moment, except for the index here, because this is something that we already did in the past. And in the business, I also changed the detail, the index a little bit. In the detail, I actually added the functionality to create a new task. And in here, this is something that is quite new here. We have two hidden inputs, the taskable ID, which is in this case the business ID of the detail page that we're showing at the moment, and the target model being the business. And that's something that we're going to use to create our task for our business. We have the same thing in the person. So in here, in the detail of the person, we have exactly the same thing, but instead of a target model of business, we have the value person here. This is also a person ID instead of a business ID. Well, you get the picture. We're actually going to create new tasks based on this form here. All right, so let's dive into the controller here, task controller. And first of all, we're going to add functionality to the store. Before I forget, I also created in the web routes a new route controller here, which is actually taking the task controller with a prefix of task and a name of task. We have an index, a store, and a put for complete. So a get, post, and put, and that's actually all the functionalities that we're going to use in this video course here for tasks. So, all right, let's head over to the task controller, and in the store here, we're going to add a request. And this is a request of the request type. So request, this is going to grab everything that we submit in our form. Next up, I want to validate that. We could use a custom validation, but we already did that. So I'm going to write a validator myself. So validated equals to request, request validate, and in here, this is an array, of course, an array of title, and I want title to be required like that, required like that. And also the description, I also want that one to be required like that. I'm not going to add a semicolon here. I'm not going to add the status because the status is by default in our migrations. You can see that migrations. I think this one is task. Default of open. So we're not going to add that to the validation as well because it's going to be submitted for us. All right. So next up, I'm going to create the target model here. So target model. Well, actually, I'm going to grab it. So we could do this with a switch case, but I'm kind of fan of the new functionality match in PHP, which is available for us right at the moment in PHP 8. So match, and I want that one to, this is actually a function. So match, and we're going to use the request input of target model, I think it was. So target model, and let me just quickly check that. Indeed, target model, semicolon over here, and I want it to be the business model if this is set to business. So business, if this matches, actually if this input matches with business, so it's kind of similar to switch case, but it's shorter. So then we are going to use business, like that, find, and I want the request input of the taskable ID. And that's like that. Taskable ID. Let's copy this, and taskable ID, if this is person, then I want person here. All right, and I need a comma here. Great. So whenever the target model is business, then we're going to use business find of the taskable ID. Whenever it's person, then we're going to use person find of the taskable ID. And to do so, I need to import these as well. So in here, business and person, like that. And it's a capital P. All right, so now we know our target model. We still need to target model and tasks and create to create our task for our target model. So we're going to pass on an array of title, and this title is must be set equal to the request title, right? So request input title, like that, and I'm just going to copy this for description as well. Description, like that. All right. So I think this should work, and I still need a semicolon over here, and at the end I want to return, return redirect, because we are using this form submission here, so this store function for business and for person. I just want to redirect back to where I came from. So redirect back, like that. And that should actually do the trick. There's one thing I want to check here. I want the fields to be fillable. So in here, I want protected, fillable, and this is an array, like that, semicolon over here. And I want the title to be fillable, and I want the description to be fillable, like that. Description, like that. If we don't do this, we would get a mass assignment issue like we had before in one of the previous videos. All right, so let's test this out. I want to go to people for Ricardo Thompson here, and this is a test. Create a task, and let's test this, like that, and create task. And in here we have an issue, request here. And what is my issue? Request. Okay, I made a huge typo here. Request is request. So let's get back to the code. And yeah, you can see this one should be highlighted as well. So I made a mistake here 4 times. So here in the match, and so okay, so I did a few stupid things, but let's get it back here, refresh here, create a task, and let's test this. Create task. All right, so now we have create a new task. So if I head over to tasks, I should have also for Ricardo Thompson a task. Great. So next thing, I want to be able to click this button. Now we're redirected to a blank page called task 3 complete. But I want this to have the same functionality. If I hit complete task, the status must be completed. I want the button to be gone, and I want to be redirected back to where I came from. So let's head over to the code. I already have the function in place, but I want to show you guys that yeah, I don't like putting functionalities in controllers. You shouldn't either. You should use something like actions or services or whatever. But we're going to use model functions for this in this case. So I'm heading over to the task model here, and in here I want a public function. Function called mark as completed, like that. And we're going to, because this is on a task model itself, we can use this to use the model that we're referring to. So if we are calling this function on a model being this task here, then this will represent that sole task. So this here we can use status equal to, and let's set it to completed. I think it was completed, right? In the migration. Completed, yes, it was. So set it to completed. And I need a semicolon, not a comma. All right, this save, because we want to save it afterwards, and just return true, like that. And that should actually take in, the task it is, set it as complete, save it, and return with status of true. You can do whatever you want. You can do this also in a, not in the model itself, but you can use an action file or a task service or whatever you want. But to showcase this small little thing here, a model function is more than sufficient. And then in here, because we're actually requesting this as an as a put, right? In the routes here, you can see where is it here, that we're requesting this as a task and as a put. So we could actually do the same thing as an update function. So we're going to go for requests, write it correctly this time, requests, and the model that we're trying to get here is a task, and the task at hand here. So let's quickly dump or die our task, and that should work. So if I click here, then I'm getting the task that I want. All right, let's go back. Great. So instead of dumping and die, I'm going to return redirect back already, because that's what we're going to do. And our task here, I can now easily call mark as, how did I call it? Mark as completed. I'm going to copy this, mark as completed function, and done with it. Let's save that, head over to the code here, and if I now hit this button, it's completed. The button isn't gone, but if I go to Marley, I already did the thing there, it's completed. So if I test again, like that, this is another test. Test, create task. All right, so that created a new task here, but I want the order to be the latest one on top. So let's actually do that in the view here of person detail. And where is it? In here, the for each. Where is the for each? Here, tasks, and I can do sort by, and then the created at, because that's what is chronologically ordered. And I don't want it to be sort by. I want it to be sort by descending, because I want the oldest one to be on the bottom and the newest one on top. And all right, we have our Vite already refreshed the page. So now the test again task is on top. And if I hit complete, there it is. It is completed. So that's how we can easily use our one-to-many polymorphic relationship in our CRUDing. So creating tasks polymorphically to different models and marking them as complete as well. So in the next video, I'm more or less going to do the same thing, but with the tags, that we can edit the tags of people and businesses. So I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.